welcome to God's 5 Minutes with Pastor Ed Wilson. Reach him at GodsFiveMinutes@gmail.com. Now, here's Ed Wilson with God's 5 Minutes.
Hello, friends. Zechariah 2:4 and 5 reads, Jerusalem shall be inhabited as towns without walls, for the multitude of men and cattle therein. For I, saith the Lord, will be unto her a wall of fire round about, and will be the glory in the midst of her. Zechariah was the prophet of the returning exiles, and his great work was to hearten them for their difficult task with their small resources and their many foes, and to maintain that the prime condition of success was holiness. So his visions are very largely concerned with the building of the temple and of the city. In the one from which this verse is taken, he sees a man with a measuring rod in his hand coming forth to take the dimensions of the still non-existent city of God. The prophecy has 3 clauses, with the first being the result of the other 2. Jerusalem shall be builded as a city without walls, for I will be a wall of fire round about her, and the glory in the midst of her. And that uplifting promise was spoken about the Jerusalem over which Christ wept as he prophesied its destruction. When the Romans torched the temple and the streets of the city were running with blood, what had become of Zechariah's vision? Could the divine fire be quenched? Well, yes, but not by Roman enemies. It was the sad work of the people who lived behind the protection of that flaming barrier. The apparent failure of the promise carries a lesson for Christian congregations and individuals today, that despite such glowing predictions, there may again sound the voice that legend says was heard within the temple on the night before Jerusalem fell. Let us depart, it is said, and there was a rustling of unseen wings, and next day the legionaries were in the Holy of Holies. So long as the city obeyed and trusted God, it was unconquerable. Similarly, the protecting promises have descended upon God's church of today. Amid all the raucous voices condemning Christianity and declaring it dead and ready for burial, it is as true as ever that the living church of God is eternal. Had there been no God as a wall of fire round about the church, she would have been wiped off the face of the earth long ago. Her continuance is a perpetual miracle, no matter how small or besieged the little band of saints who in any given age represent her. In spite of all the vaunted pronouncements of people who have already proclaimed her fall, and are talking as if she needed no more to be reckoned with, that calm confidence is the spirit in which we are to look around and forward. The weakest Christian need never have the smallest shadow of a fear that the ship in which Jesus Christ sleeps can fail to come to land. The great word remains forever true, because I live, ye shall live also. Nor do these covenants of divine protection belong only to the church as a whole. We can each appropriate them to our own individual lives. When we do so, we shall find with the saints of all ages that in spite of all the tumult and confusion about us, with Satan's shouts of fury and derision ringing in our ears, there is a wall of fire round about each of us if we are keeping near Jesus Christ, through which it is as impossible for any real evil should pass and get at us, as it would be impossible that any living thing should pass through the flaming battlements which Zechariah saw round his beloved city. Our task is to interpret that promise by faith and not by sense. We have to keep inside the wall and trust it. As faith dwindles, the fiery wall burns dim, and evil can get across its embers and can get to us. Keep within the battlements, and they will flame up bright and impassable with a fire that on the outer side destroys and consumes. But to those within, that same blaze is a fire that cherishes and warms. The promise that includes the glory in the midst is an inward illumination, lighting up knowledge, joy, and purity. It is not a glory, it is the glory. The glory of the Lord is Jesus Christ. The Lamb is the light of the heavenly city. His flashing brilliance reaches every corner, and there shall be no night there. Have you talked to him today?
You have been listening to God's 5 Minutes with Pastor Ed Wilson. Reach him by email at GodsFiveMinutes@gmail.com. Tune in next time to hear more encouraging thoughts from God's Word on God's 5 Minutes with Pastor Ed Wilson.